Welcome to the Fractional podcast, where we share real stories of operators raising capital and partnering with everyday investors to bring big ideas to life. I'm your host, Stella Hahn, and today we have Ashlee Jeffers, who just did a co-living raise on the Fractional platform and is an incredible women operator in the real estate investing space. Ashlee, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Stella. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Ashlee, I'm so excited to dig into your journey. Why don't we just get started with how you entered the real estate game? What did you do before and how did you get in?
I entered into real estate investing back in 2018. That's when I started to get curious about building wealth and making a lot of money. And so started doing all of the research things, the YouTube University and listening to podcasts and reading books and all the things. And all roads led to real estate. Like that is kind of like the cornerstone for building wealth. So 2018, I started wholesaling. 2021, I started buying holds, bought my first two that year, and continued to buy properties since. I've done a couple flips here and there, but really focused on building a portfolio that generates passive income each month. These last 2 years is when I've entered into the co-living space and started buying my last two properties I bought intentionally for the room rental business model.
I love that. I totally relate with, building that additional stream of income. And I personally am such a huge fan of the co-living model because I think it's, really opening doors, from an accessibility perspective to people who need housing. And then, as interest rates have shifted, it has been a lot harder to just cash flow with a traditional model. So I think, with co-living, it's really just check the boxes in every aspect possible. And actually, I know you give back a lot to the community as well in terms of education and running a community. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I post about my entrepreneurial endeavors on social media. I've been doing that for years, even before getting into co-living. And as I'm posting about whatever I'm working on at the time, people ask questions in the comments and they DM me, and my friends and family ask questions. And so this go round decided to package up everything that I've learned about being a room rental business operator into what I call the room rental profits system, where I provide everything that you need to get started in the best way possible. Like I tried to package up something that I wish I had when I first started out. And so it's super popular right now, the co-living, communal living niche in real estate investing. So a lot of people are curious, but you have to educate yourself on this. You cannot just walk into this thing blindly. There are a lot of moving parts that potential investors need to have an awareness of to be educated on in order to be successful.
Absolutely. I totally get that because I tried myself thinking, how do I do co-living? I wanted to turn some of my, traditional single family, just long-term rentals where I was just renting out the whole house. And I was like, how do I, turn this 3-bedroom into an 8-bedroom? Like, how does that work? And then that's where you really get a lot of question marks, right? It's like, theoretically, it makes a lot of sense. And then the moment you start thinking about how to actually do it, you realize there's so much more. So seriously, kudos to you for building something and really unpacking it for everyone in your network. And I would love to just hear like how that first turnaround was for you. Like, how did you figure out and, how to do the conversion, how to build the relationships with the right vendors, how to even do property management where now all of a sudden there's, so many people that are renting by the room. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, so I bought my first one in 2023. And this is after I had bought several traditional buy and holds. And so I said, this is the one where I'm going to test out this room rental business model because I had heard about it. I know people who have properties that have been doing this room rental business long before I started, but it was just like, I knew if I don't jump right in and try it out. I'm not going to know how it will work out for me in my as a part of my real estate investing journey. So the first house I bought was a 1963 split level, and the split levels, they really are a good option for this room rental business model because they allow for separated spaces so that the tenants don't feel like they're on top of each other. And so you can have multiple common areas sometimes in split levels. So I wanted to have the flexibility to have multiple common areas and areas where I could potentially convert into more bedrooms. And so that was the thought in buying that split level. And so I jumped right in, put the house on roomies.com, roomster.com, Facebook Marketplace. This was before I knew about pad split. And so self-operator, I got to get these rooms filled. So those were the places where I had done research and understood that, oh, these are online marketplaces where people are looking for not a whole house or a whole apartment to rent, but just looking for a room to rent. I put the rooms on Craigslist as well. And so that's how I started filling my first rooms. I found a system that I could use to collect rents in an automated way, so I'm not chasing people for cash or checks or or using Cash App or some of these other things I'm hearing about. And so I just started, trying to build a system which didn't require a lot of my time, but was created a seamless onboarding and continued management process for the property, as well as provide proper customer support for the tenants. And so that was the first one. And I was like, okay, this is going well. Let's go get another one. So did that. And so I've only done two. So this raise that I did on Fractional, which I know we'll get to, is only property number 3. But as I tell my students and people that I talk to about this business model, you don't need a lot of them. Like, you don't need to go at a rapid pace to go and try to get 100 doors for this purpose, because if you've got 5 bedrooms plus under one roof, consider each one of those bedrooms as like a rental unit. You kind of got like a small apartment complex under a single family roof, is how I like to describe it. And so, yeah, I just really have been taking my time and building this portfolio of room rentals now. I still have my traditional rentals, like they still serve a purpose and have their advantages as a real estate investor. But yeah, just really focused on growing my portfolio going forward with room rental properties as opposed to traditional rentals.
That makes so much sense. And I love that analogy you just made where, this is like your own little smart apartment multifamily that you just bought, but it's actually, within a single family home. That is such a perfect analogy. And, talk about scalability, right? I think everyone talks about scaling from single family to multifamily eventually, but it's like, hey, this is actually a different type of scalability, right? Where it's still the same house in terms of a single family home, but then you are, unlocking that scalability on a door basis just within that single family home. So I love how you put that together. It was such a light bulb moment when I heard you say that. And, you mentioned the fractional rate, so I want to talk about that now. When did you realize that you needed other people's money? What was kind of the shift in mindset that led you to doing this raise?
So the fun part about me finding Fractional is you all were introduced to me. I had not heard about Fractional. You were introduced to me by Pad Split. So the 2 houses that I started with, I put them on the Pad Split platform last year and built relationship with account executives at Pad Split. And so it was who said, hey, I need to connect you with Stella at Fractional. I think this would benefit you in getting your funding together for your next room rental property. And so that's how I learned about you. And I think it's one of those things where it's the power of networking and meeting new people and adding value and building a relationship. Like that's how my relationship with you and the team at Fractional came about. And so it wasn't that I necessarily decided, oh, I need to start raising money. No, it was, he's like, hey, you can use this to raise money. And I'm like, oh, okay. I like that idea. Let's run with that. Let's see how that could work out.
Yep. And here we are.
Yeah.
One raise done and many more to come as you keep building and scaling. And how is the community component of the raise? I think this is a very different model than, traditionally going out there finding, one private money lender, to do a loan for you. This is, bring on a few equity partners who are in it with you for the longer term, right? What was that experience like?
I mean, it was just a refreshing concept to crowdfund in this way. And so I've seen crowdfunding platforms before for real estate investing, but the eligibility is a lot higher. It's just different. It seems like it's geared towards more so, for lack of a better term, a more advanced investor, accredited investors. But fractional is for people that don't have a ton of money to invest, but they still want to invest. They still want to grow their money. And so fractional, you guys have created a platform that gives them an opportunity to invest smaller amounts and get great returns. And so what we did for putting together for me to get in front of to present the opportunity is pad split that relationship. They sent out emails and text messages letting everyone know about the opportunity and inviting them to the investor interest meeting that I led, where I presented the opportunity. The team at Fractional, Kyle and team, they sent out notifications as well to investors that were already on your platform, and that's what formed the group of investors that I have now that invested into my current project.
That's incredible. And I love how, I hear as a repeated theme, right? Building the relationships, the networks. I feel like that has been just a fundamental part about your journey, through and through. And I feel like you as an operator, like you do a phenomenal job at building those relationships, even with the raise, right? Like investor calls, building relationships from scratch with people that are interested in co-living and then bringing them on to do this project with you. That is just, I think it's so fascinating how, it really goes to show that the relationships are what truly changes the game for everyone. And that's how you do bigger and better things. And that's how you scale. That's how you go faster. And you're really just putting that to work in every aspect, of your real estate investing journey as possible. And, I'm super curious, with this raise now being done, right? What is next for the group of investors? What are you guys going to work on? I know there were, you were looking at a couple of different properties. Tell us the next chapter of the book.
So the group that I did this first raise with, it's myself and five other ladies. So the six of us total that will own a 7-bedroom property located in Charlotte. And so I look at deals every single day. I looked at 2 deals today that got brought to me that are potential co-living properties. And so the next move is to vet these deals, see what makes sense numbers wise, and if they are great deals that I think that other investors would be interested in contributing money to, then I'll go through the same process again and put the property on fractional and give not only my investors on this current project, but other investors, whether it be coming from the pad split community, fractional community, my circle of family and friends, my students maybe might want to contribute to this next project. So that's my MO, is just to continue to find great deals and bring them to investors that are looking for great deals where they can make some great returns and don't have to put in the sweat equity. That's my job. So I'm the manager of the ship, and do the day-to-day management of the operation and just allow them to contribute money to a great project and get some solid returns over time.
Yeah, and I love that, you are including people in, your thought process and how you're evaluating these opportunities too, right? I think that has been a huge part of just the community model, and it ties so well with, what you're doing in terms of uplifting your students, bringing them into this space is, hey, we're not just gonna learn, on paper, right? It's like we're actually going to put our money together, we can underwrite together, we can look at all these different opportunities that you're looking at and be like, yeah, I think this is great for XYZ reasons. This one, not so good. It doesn't really hit the metrics we're looking for. And as, someone that is learning through the process, like that is so much more tangible learning than just, okay, let me go watch another webinar and it's all just hypotheticals, right? Like I think that is so powerful in the learning experience too. And it's like, okay, well, I now get to be a part of that. Ashlee is saving me from actually going to, go to the property and deal with maybe one specific tenant in the room that maybe has a request or whatever. Not having to put the sweat in that sense, but still really getting all the brain power that, you're bringing to the community where, we can really touch and feel from a strategy perspective, right, on how all of that works. So I really love what you're doing in that capacity.
Yeah, the education, me putting together the program and the mentorship program, it has become more of a mission driven thing for me. Like I can continue to invest on my own and make money on my own, and that's great. But the more people I teach how to do this business model correctly, the more affordable housing units will be created across this country and maybe even beyond. I don't know. I might have some students into the program that are overseas, like have some international students, who knows? But my goal really is to teach people how to do this business correctly, because if they do it correctly, then we're providing housing, much needed housing for people who have just been priced out of the traditional rental and house buying markets.
I freaking love that. Look at you, you're crushing it, and you're hitting one milestone after another. Like that is just so fabulous. And another thing that you brought up earlier is, with this group of investors that are doing, that were part of this raise, they were all ladies in real estate. Like that is freaking incredible. Like what a story in itself.
Yeah, and it just so happened that way. Two of the ladies I know, they are local to Charlotte. I met them through mutual friends. And the other three ladies I have not met yet in person. We've met via Zoom, but they came from the fractional community. So it was really cool to be able to collaborate in this way. And hopefully, we will be able to meet in person, hopefully at our property once we buy it.
That will be so fun. When you guys do that, you have to make a ton of content. I wanna see like the first meeting each other reaction videos. That is gonna be so fun. I love that.
For sure. We'll do it for sure.
Yeah. Is the local market the only market you're putting your focus and emphasis on? How do you think about, what markets you want to do next? Is it staying local? Do you want to get outside of that? Walk me through your thought process around that.
Yeah, so here in the last couple of months, I've been thinking about, why am I just thinking about Charlotte? I am open to other states, other cities, if the deal makes sense, because I've met so many people along the way that live in other states where I will feel supported. So I know property managers in other states. E's in Florida. So E has been around for a while. He owns several pad splits. And so being able to tap into his network gives me comfort in security, in knowing that if I decided to invest in Florida, that I would have the support there. So I'm open to other states as long as the deal makes sense and I have a strong support team in those other areas outside of Charlotte.
I love it. It always goes back to knowing the right people, the best people that will help up level each other, and that's exactly what we're here to do. And we're so proud to be a part of your journey and the journey that you've been able to kick off for a lot of other investors, especially lady investors in the ecosystem as well. Actually, I'm sure a lot of people that are listening definitely want to see this reaction video when it's happening. So where can people find you to stay in touch?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media. I tend to hang out more so on IG and Facebook. I'm not really on the TikTok like that. Um, so you can find me on Facebook, Ashlee D, as in David Jeffers, and then Ash the Preneur on IG. And so on IG is where I drop most of my educational content when it comes to the room rental business model, just trying to provide as much valuable information as possible so that people kind of start to think about what they need to consider going into this business.
Love it, love it, love it.
So let me
Well,
say this before we run out of time. Thank you.
yep.
Thank you for creating such an invaluable platform, such an amazing platform. I don't know if you know like the magnitude of what's being created here. Like you literally giving people the opportunity to change their lives by way of bringing these projects to the platform, having investors invest into their projects, and as operators, that's income for us. And so without Fractional, none of this would be possible, like literally. And so I just want to thank you for not only having Fractional as a platform, but building it in a way that is so powerful. Your team, awesome. Shout out to Kyle. Shout out to I have been working with them closely over the last couple of months. Can't say how amazing they are to work with. Very knowledgeable, very hands-on as they work with me to get to the finish line. So thank you for you and your team and all you guys are doing. Seriously.
Aw, that means so much. Thank you for saying all of that. I honestly appreciate that so much. And to everything that you've said, it is really about it's about everyone. We're here to create the platform, but the platform wouldn't be so magical if there's not operators like yourself that are bringing game changing solutions and doing something different and wanting to open up doors to more people in the community to do it with you. So we're all here. We're hand in hand, just up leveling everything that's around us, and that's what we're all about. So thank you, Ashlee, for everything that you do as well, and thank you for coming to the podcast. I can't wait to hear about the next chapter after chapter in your real estate investing journey and hosting you on your next race. So thank you, Ashlee, for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, Stella.